Beast of Reincarnation's first zone is pretty big, and when you combine that with a good number of systems that feed into your weapons, character level, and more, it can feel a little overwhelming. This guide will give you a checklist of what to do first, and it'll help you make sense of all those stats and menus along the way. Improving your weapons is one of the quickest and easiest things to check off the list, and you should be doing it often. Beast of Reincarnation's main currency is amber. You'll find it inside chests, and you'll collect it whenever you touch an orange butterfly or bust up some orange coral. It's all over the place, and similar to many Souls-likes, it's used for both upgrading your gear and buying items from merchants. Let's focus on weapons for now. Anytime you rest at a campsite, you'll be able to improve them from the menu. In fact, you'll get a green exclamation point letting you know that you have enough amber to afford an upgrade. You'll be able to raise the base damage of swords and arrows, as well as expand your quiver to carry more ammunition. Do this as often as possible, and your blades and bows will never feel underleveled. Note that you can only do it once per weapon at the start of the game until you upgrade your home base, but we'll get to that later. In the meantime, you should also be leveling up Emma and Koo as often as possible. Your experience bar is at the top right of the screen, and it fills with every combat encounter. Level up and you'll earn an attribute point. Just as you should spend your amber as often as possible, you should spend your attribute points the same way. Both Emma and Koo earn them at the same rate, and they can be used to increase your strength, vitality, and fluorescence. These three governing stats affect a variety of numbers under the hood, but you can broadly think of them as improving your attack power, health and mobility, and special skills, respectively. Attribute points can be spent when you rest at a camp, so do that ASAP whenever you earn them. Keep in mind that available skills are gated by your attribute points, so it's a good idea to check that screen before you level up, to make sure you're headed in the right direction. You will constantly be earning skill points as you explore and fight. Think of these like a resource to be spent often and in batches, rather than something you just do every time you level up. It's worth checking and spending them anytime you rest at camp. Emma and Koo's skill trees both display their core skills in the center. There are also skills that branch underneath those and are able to be unlocked sequentially as you enhance the core skills. Core skills are the ones mentioned above that require particular attribute thresholds to enhance. Spend both your attribute and skill points intentionally to invest in the moves that suit your gameplay style. If you're not sure where to start, don't worry. We've got a whole guide for that right here on IGN. And know that you'll also be able to respec Emma and Koo from the Cleanse Walker after you meet Mikoto in Chapter 2. Not all of these tips involve resting at camp, but that does play a part in this entry too. Emma and Koo can both equip various accessories, Spirit Stones for Emma and Charms for Koo. You can find them in chests, buy them from merchants, or even duplicate the ones you already have once the Cleanse Walker is advanced enough. More on that in a moment. But you also need to be on the lookout for unknown Spirit Stones and Charms out in the wild. They'll appear as question marks on the inventory screen, and they'll have names like Rusted, which imply they need restoring. Luckily, this is super easy to do, and it's another one of the first things you ought to do in the early game. Simply resting at camp restores these old Spirit Stones and Charms, revealing their stats and making them usable. From there, it's as simple as buttoning over to the Equipment tab on the pause menu, then outfitting Emma and Koo with what makes sense to you. Koo can only wear one charm at a time, but Emma's Spirit Stone capacity is dependent on her armor, with a maximum of 6 slots. Stones and Charms can increase attack, defense, and other core stats, as well as trigger buffs at the start of battle. Just like with skills and attributes, you'll want to equip the ones that match your playstyle. Keep an eye on the secondary effects too. They're often more game-changing than the stat boosts. While you're out there picking up Amber, Spirit Stones, Charms, and all the other resources I've mentioned so far, you're also going to come across some very specific ones that look like different colored skulls, green memory chips, blue generator devices, and orange electronic brains. You'll often find these inside strongboxes or sitting beside defunct golems. These skulls are how you'll upgrade the Cleanse Walker, and you'll want to start doing that early as well. The thing is, you can only cash in those upgrades when you return to the Cleanse Walker, so whenever you have enough, you should do that. There's no penalty to resting at the Walker, and it's a great time to bond with your traveling companions and learn more about the game's world. As for the upgrades, each color corresponds to a stat. blue is power, orange is calculations, and green is knowledge. As you raise these, you'll have access to more and more perks that feed back into a lot of the other things you should be doing first. Higher power, for example, lets you further improve your weapons, higher knowledge unlocks new research possibilities, and higher calculations let you do spirit stone duplication and learn new cooking recipes. This has its own entry on the list, because cooking is an in-depth system that you should unlock and invest in as soon as possible. After collecting the red, blue, and yellow keys toward the end of the first zone, you'll be prompted to return to the Cleanse Walker, and you should do that right away. After a flashback of Emma's past, her friend Kagura will wake up, at which point she'll be able to cook for you. As mentioned in the last tip, visiting the Cleanse Walker is one of the many things you should do early and often, and once Kagura starts cooking, you can eat one of the available meals at the end of the day. These give you minor but permanent stat increases, and since there is no reason not to visit the Walker often, you'll get the equivalent of extra level ups just by taking a rest. As with the skill tree, we have an entire guide dedicated to cooking, so check that out when you're ready to put your chef hat on. When you're ready to get your archer on, this next tip is for you. Early in the first zone, you'll get a quest marker for Sub-City 1. While you are free to keep exploring, I recommend going there ASAP. When you go underground and clear the area, you'll receive the Zangetsu Bow. Emma carries a crossbow from the start of the game, but it is not intended for long range. That's what the Zangetsu Bow is for. Once you have it, you'll be able to snipe enemies from a distance, bring down flying malefacts, and even bust up amber crystals hanging in high spots. Plus, it can be outfitted with elemental arrows that deal different damage types. Grab it as soon as you can. These last two entries are also for expanding your arsenal, but you'll have to go a little off the beaten path to find them. First, make your way to the marker you see on screen here. This western part of the zone is the Cliffside Village. Fight your way through it to find a rusted keeper golem at the top. These NPCs can mark a single valuable item on your map, and the choice is up to you. In this case, we'll go for a new weapon. That dialogue choice will drop a pin on the Riverside Tower to the east. Make your way there, then fight to the top of the tower. Hopefully you've heeded the other tips in this video and leveled up your gear and skills a few times, because there are lots of enemies on the way up. Once you get there, you'll find a new sword, the Light Mechblade. Emma starts the game with two swords, including the standard Mechblade, but the light version deals a different damage type called Rupture, which will be super effective against enemies with the same icon next to their health bar. Let's add a new crossbow option to take this thing home. Lucky for us, there's another keeper golem on top of the Riverside Tower that you can speak to after grabbing your new sword. Since we already asked about the Light Mechblade, we can pin acid bolts to our map this time. That'll place a marker back to the west, in a spot called the Quarry. Be ready for an even tougher fight than the tower, because once you take the elevator past the campsite in the quarry, you'll have to face an elite enemy. If you haven't already stumbled onto one of these brutes, know that parrying is of the utmost importance. They have 3-hit combos with delayed finishers, and they take much longer to stagger. Even worse, this one has a corrosive sword that will continue to eat away at your health. But once you come out on top, you can open the shack he was guarding. Inside is the Acid Bolt Manual, which will automatically supply you with acid bolts every time you rest at a campsite. Just don't forget to actually equip them on your equipment menu. Now you'll be able to eat through an enemy's armor anytime you pop them with your crossbow. That should feel really good after that tough fight. There's a lot to learn about this game's elemental affinities and combat system at large, but we've got you covered. For all things Beast of Reincarnation, you're already in the right place. IGN.